All right. Hello. Can anybody hear me? Also, I'm checking in YouTube, so if you're on the YouTube chat, if you could send a message, that would be awesome. And while I'm doing that, let's see how the camera looks. Yeah, pretty close to my face, but I guess that's okay. Oh, that's right, I should change this. It looks like the delay is still waiting to hit you folks, so... Oh, there we go, I hear my sound coming in, so... Cool. Nice. Hey Craig. Hey Kenneth. Alright, there's that. And let's go ahead and change the text size too, because that's probably a little difficult to read. So, editor. Default copy, I think that's the one. And alright, that's a lot bigger. Alright, so I'm going to mute this now because this is really frustrating to hear myself and be on this side of it. So, what are we going to be doing in this live stream / live coding? That's the word, session. And the answer is this. So here we have from GDAX trade data from Ethereum versus the US dollar. And we've got a ton of data. Over here we've got people wanting to sell it with all these red orders, how much they want to sell and what price they want to sell it at. And then down here we've got people who want to buy it, how many shares, or not shares, how many Ethereum tokens they want to buy and what prices they're willing to buy it at. Then this data over here on the left is represented graphically with this depth chart in the middle. So you can kind of see how many orders are at what price point, and then we can zoom in and out, which is functionality well beyond what we'll be putting in the Android app, but just to show off. I mean, maybe we'll get there, we'll see, but we're not going to claim that yet. Then we've got a chart up here, and then we've got a trade history. So whenever somebody hits one of these orders and a trade completes, it goes over here with the size, the price, and the time. And so what we've really got here is just a ton of information and hopefully a good way to maybe stress test Room and the new architecture component stuff, which, full disclaimer, I haven't looked at a ton, so you're going to see me struggle with it, and that's cool, that's how this works. Okay. And if anybody's got any questions on this, I'm going to start getting into the coding, but I will check back into YouTube after I've got the project set up, and if there's any questions, I'll talk about them then. So, getting on to the coding, I have a project here where I've done just a little bit of the work already, just to make sure that it was all possible, and that I wouldn't just be floundering around during this first session. But this isn't the project we're using. We're going to start from scratch. That's the way to go. So let's go File, New Project, and let's make this Treehouse, and it's in Treehouse, and we'll call this one, so that one's GDAX Pre-Work. I'm just going to call this GDAX. And actually, another thing to mention about this is there's not an app, at least that I'm aware of, on the Play Store that lets you really look at this stuff. So this could also potentially end up being something that we publish at the end, which would be cool. But ultimately, you know, that's not super necessary because GDAX's web API stuff is really good, so there doesn't necessarily need to be an app for it, but it's a fun project nonetheless. So, I'm going to call it GDAX, then next, and API 15 is fine, we can change that later if we need to. And empty activity, yep, that's good. And then I am not going to generate a layout file. which is also not going to give us a layout folder. We may add one later, but there's no way we're going to get to any sort of a complex layout today, so I'm going to just be stubbing everything out with Anko, because it's just a lot faster. Alright. So there, I created the project. Let's check for comments. Alright, doing good. And we've got the project created, so let's pull that up. And let's make this a little bigger. And the first thing we're going to do here is convert it to Kotlin, because that's what was promised, and I want to do it in Kotlin. Sorry, got where we were going. Looking for convert Java file to Kotlin file, which should automatically kick off all the Gradle configuration and what else that we need to turn this into Kotlin. And then, alright, that's done, so I guess we should just run this too, just to get an emulator kicked off. Cool. And next step is, let's get a library that I know we're going to need, which, as mentioned earlier, is Anko. And I'm just going to take all of this. Anyway, can I get all of it? Yeah, let's just do that one then. We don't need all of it, but I'm just going to take that for time's sake. What we'd probably end up using is the layouts. I'm not entirely sure what commons means, but probably commons. Ooh, I might throw in coroutines because I like them, and we probably wouldn't use the SQLite because I actually don't know if that has anything to do with Room, but with Room existing, I doubt this is as necessary anymore. But anyway, we're going to use this one, and it's going to complain about a Gradle version. Come on. Or not Gradle version, Anko version. What is the Anko version? Looks like 0.10. So then let's see if that syncs. It looks to be syncing, yeah. Pop back over to main activity, hope that that gets done so we can use Anko. Though I guess in the meantime, I will add a new Kotlin file called extensions, which will shorten to exts. And all I'm going to put here is just sort of global stuff. Yes, let's configure that. And so one of the first things I like to do in any project that I work on is pull over, where's that pre-work? So we're just going to copy this function over. This function, which maybe that can be shortened actually. So this function, which I've now pasted, there it goes, lets you just log an error, which when I'm debugging or developing an app, I just use the error channel because it's less cluttered. And then I also log these two characters so that if I want to filter on anything, I can just search for that. And this way I can just log with the letter E as an extension function on the any object. So any object at all, and everything in Kotlin is an object, meaning that you can just log anything by adding E and then put whatever you want inside these parentheses after the E, and it'll log it. So if we wanted to say hello, now we just do hello, and that'll do that. So that's what I'm going to use for debugging. It's usually faster to do logs than attaching a debugger, but if there's, you know, a bigger issue, then debugger's definitely coming out. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I have been getting a lot more spam phone calls this past like few months than recently, so there's that. Anywho, getting back to the project at hand, we need to start in on the GDAX API. So the first step that we're going to try and do is just to get this information from the order book and the trade history. And if we can just get those coming in as information, then we'll take the next step, try to get them into the API using a recycle view. So let's check out the GDAX API. And one of the really nice things about GDAX is their API. So it's really just a really good API. And then down here at the bottom is the WebSocket feed, which is what we need to use to get that information coming through as fast as it's coming through on here. Because you don't want to do this with just API calls. That would just not be a good idea. Way too much going on. And one of the cool things about this is it just tells you all the information, so you can authenticate too if you want to make trades or anything like that. Here we go. So right here, they even give you instructions on how to build a real-time order book. So not only is the project really well defined in the sense that this exists and we can just refer to this for kind of next steps to take as we go along, but also they even tell us how to do it using their API. I mean, it's still not super easy, but at least we've got it. So the first thing we need to do to create a real-time order book, which is pretty much what we're trying to do here, is send a subscribe message for the product of interest, which in this case is ETH to USD. So we need a WebSocket API. And for that, we can use this class from OKHTTP, which has a bunch of methods that we can override to get the messages back, figure out closing, failures and stuff. All sorts of stuff that would be really good to test, but we probably won't end up getting to test. So let's pop over here, and we can just, to make things simpler, let's just copy that import in from Okay, so somebody's going to have to tell me if this got better. Craig, I'm designating you because you have the ability to make things pop up here, which is cool. And good that that wasn't an embarrassing thing, which is why I wanted to close Slack, but hey, let's see how that works out. And so I guess I'll just get back to it because it's really weird having a 30-second delay. Anywho, so we need to bring in the library for WebSockets, which is from OKHTTP. So let's get pre-work up, which I already had up, and then integratable. And oh right, we're going to need all these architecture imports. So I guess I can copy those too. And interestingly, this project, I didn't even get far enough with the pre-work to get any of the UI done, so you don't see Anko in here at all. So let's grab this Arch stuff, which I don't feel like I'm cheating by copying that over. I think that's probably easy enough to find. I think the one step that was really frustrating, and I'm glad I don't have to show it, is this bit right here. You had to replace something with KAPT because we were getting a Gradle error, Gradle build error on one of these things was using a version of something, and another one was using a different version of the same thing, which is one of the common errors you can find down here. But I fixed it by, I'm pretty sure, just adding KAPT in front of this. Sweet, thanks, Greg. And so, yeah, if you find this stuff elsewhere and you copy it in, and you're thinking, oh no, it's not working with Kotlin, throw this in there and maybe it'll work. And then, of course, I also need to bring over the OKHTTP import. So let's grab that. And then throw that in here. And then sync stuff. And then, yeah, sure. Okay, I've clicked that twice now. Let's see if it works here. Third time. Here we go. Okay, did not work. Plugin, apply Gradle plugin. What? No. Okay, Gradle 3.3 is the wrapper here, and the wrapper over here is Gradle properties. Is that it? Oh, there we go. It should be the same one. I mean, 3.3 all, 3.3 all, same stuff here. So maybe let's just clean and rebuild. Okay, so apparently that is not exactly how we did it. So I'm just going to cut out that stuff for now, and we will come back to the architecture stuff later when it's that time. So try again. Just the OK HTTP import. I'm sure we'll still have to do the KPT stuff, but we'll have to do that on the page because there must have been another step involved in setting that up that I haven't done yet, beyond just the Gradle stuff. Okay, so, and let me just check over here, make sure everything's good. Okay, cool, much better. Everybody agrees with Craig. Not unusual, Craig's a cool guy. So, let's do main activity. And we could just copy it in from the other one, but I'm going to try and just make it work from looking at the docs, because that's how everybody else would do it. We don't all get to start with pre-work. Okay, so this is their example of their WebSocket listener. So we're going to need all this stuff, and so we need that part for sure. This is run, and then when does run get runs? Okay, so this just comes in and it just creates a new one of this class and then calls the run method on it. So let's just start here and I guess just copy everything over into here basically. Just keep it on create. And also I'm curious, okay, yeah, I was curious what would happen because we don't have a layout set at all. So when we ran the project, what happened? And I guess also to fix that, let's relative layout, and inside the relative layout, let's add a text view. It says hello. And then is that just an import? Yeah, cool. Looks good. Import that request, and then we need the right. Yeah, this is not a WebSocket listener. So what we could do here is we could make main activity a WebSocket listener by implementing that, but let's just use an anonymous class instead. But first, let's get the right WebSocket address, which from the GDAX API is right there. That's cool, we were right on it. And interesting that it has an extra S than this one. I don't know much about WebSockets, but hey, there you go. Okay, so now we need a, don't beep at me, we need a WebSocket listener. So let's make a new val listener, and this is going to equal an object, not an object, an object, which extends WebSocket listener. Cool, and then we can do that. And just because that kind of feels like something that wouldn't be inside on create, let's move it out there. There's no real rhyme or reason to, you know, where everything is yet. We're just trying to get started. Okay, so we've added the listener. We've got that. We've done that step. What do we have over here? Not there. Here. A WebSocket request. So this probably starts it right there, which we've got. So I think we've just got to add in all these overrides to our WebSocket listener, which in this case is the class, but in our case is this anonymous object. which also this is just the syntax for, hey, this is just how you do an anonymous class in Kotlin. Object, colon, the class you want to implement. And we need to add overrides, which somehow got lost. So there's a bug in the Java to Kotlin thing there. So notice that we did just go Java to Kotlin, which is really cool. Though clearly it's not perfect yet, but wow, this is definitely good enough for me. Okay, we don't need to say dead beef. That's for sure. I don't think we really need to send anything, really, and we don't want to close the WebSocket. So instead, let's just tell us the response. And maybe also the response, let's see if there's like something in here that's helpful that wouldn't get printed out necessarily. Message, let's do message, that's good. So here we'll just be printing out what the response is and what the message and the response is, just to be sure we get some useful information from the onOpen. And then on the message, yep, that looks good. This looks good, but let's differentiate these with a 1 and a 2, because I bet we don't need to have both of them. And then closing. This seems odd that you would call close end side on closing. That seems to be like something that would already be happening, so I'm just going to take that out. Yeah, who knows if that's right, but we'll see. And we got close, and it's already got a good thing there, and we should replace these with our own thing, and then print stack trace. Does that print it to the screen? Yeah, okay, that wasn't gonna work. Okay, so let's just throwable dot print stack trace. Yeah, so it doesn't give us the stack trace. This would give us the stack trace. So let's log that, and then we can just leave that because why not for now. Okay, so when we run this, we're going to get our client, we're going to build it, we're going to set the read timeout, and that's Control B, Control or Command B to jump to where it's declared. And since it's in a library, we actually get something useful, unlike the last time we did it. So I guess it did give the return type last time, so that's on me. So it sets the default read timeout for new connections. A value of 0 means no timeout. So yeah, we don't want a timeout. But also what's weird to me is that they set that as 0. I would think that's the default. Let's see. Read timeout. Ah, there we go. Okay, so maybe that's not the default. So, okay, we're going to set that to 0 because waiting 10 seconds is not what we want to do. Cool, so that's set to 0 milliseconds. And then we're going to build it. Oh, and also, let me jump back in there real quick. Which was up here. This is totally legal code, which is cool. You can do that to mean 1,000. Okay, so Control Tab to go back. Then middle mouse click to close that guy, and we're here to where we've built the client. Once we've got the client, we build the request, which is, just to the WebSocket stream. That's probably what that stands for. And then client.new WebSocket, add our request and our listener, which is this big guy, so which really doesn't do anything now except listen and print out stuff. And then we do this, which I'm not convinced on, but so if we run it and it just fails really quickly, I'll take this out and see if this was just shutting it down right away, because he might have, for this example, I could see shutting it down right away, because you're done after you've done it. You don't want the example to just run forever. Okay, so let's run this, see what happens. And remember, we should also see hello and a relative layout and the top left. Because without any bounds on this hello, it should float all the way to the top left in a relative layout. Ooh, cool. So let's see what we got. Oh, and fun fact, Android Monitor is gone, and the most recent version of Android Studio, this is now called Logcat. And you get the performance button. So I'm still on 2.3.2, so if you're on the Canary build, it'll look a little different than this. And the only reason I know that is because I'm going over the first course again. I don't follow that stuff religiously all the time. Okay, so that doesn't make any sense. I have had this error before, and I'm pretty sure you just run it again or you clean and build, but I think it's just something that happens because I don't ever remember solving that. Okay, so do we have a better error message this time maybe? I hit close app there. Huh. Code. I don't know where to go. Build, and then let's clean it. That's a lot of space. And I finished with warnings. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So let's run it again. Pull up Android Monitor. That's a lot going on. Let's close that side. Go away. Come on. There we go. Okay. What did we do? So, step number 2, let's do a sanity check. Let's comment that out. Comment all this out. And let's run this. And I'm really glad it's running things faster than it used to, because this would be a really long and boring stream if we had to wait like a minute or two between runs. So this is in create relative layout. Compat activity, maybe there's something in the manifest. Probably not, I'm not sure why there would be. Okay, let's look at the error closely. Unable to instantiate activity. Main activity, class not found exception. Did not find it on the DEX path list. So let's try something real quick. Okay, let's generate a layout file. Maybe that's throwing something. I mean, not really, but let's leave it as default, and we'll just take this one step at a time, running. Okay, so we've got this. Let's run it. X5, good. Great, so that ran. Then let's do bring in echo. Okay. Maybe Anko's got something old in that build. Maybe I picked the wrong version number or something. Did you not build with Anko yet? Come on. Oh, right. It's not a Kotlin project yet. So code. code for Java Kotlin file. Okay, then what do I have to do to make this build and Kotlin? Right? Something. Or did it just do it? Did you add Kotlin stuff into here? I feel like there should be. Where does it go? Okay. 2. Let's see, do we have... Oh, there we go. Okay, so then text view. Hello, and let's run this. Oh, we've got to import that. Yep, same selection. Actually, did we put that over the... Ha! We have made the same error happen again. So let's did that run? No, that did not run. And did we get the same error? I bet we did. Yeah, that is so interesting. And just a little bit frustrating. So let's open recent. Wow, okay. Did I do that in Kotlin? Definitely did that in Kotlin. So this was when I did some live streaming with Kenneth. So hey Kenneth. And I wonder if Gradle's screwing it up by upgrading. However, here we have an older version of Anko, so let's go ahead and use that instead and see if that changes anything. Maybe this is, maybe you specifying that it's older SDK from Anko was the key here, because I feel like if we were using Anko from the original stuff, it would be running it with our app-compat activity and our min SDK of 15, and perhaps that causes issues. Or not, you know. Keeps stopping. Alright, let's copy this guy. Let's see what the internet has to say. I'm going to be really surprised if this activity is not in the Android manifest. Both times on new projects. That would be just really weird. Yeah, right there, main activity. What do you want? That's okay. Trying to start an abstract activity. Huh. Doing something before onCreate. Nope, not doing that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do tools over here. This is one of my favorite things when searching for a bug. Go ahead and put it in last year. We want somebody who had this problem recently, not somebody who had this problem in 2010. That's not... Anybody notice that I typed an activity wrong or something? So, looks like I typed the activity right. Back over to here. Okay, we've got Anko, straight layout. Wait, it didn't, this happened before, didn't it? I think this happened on this same project. It's, Kotlin's not configured for whatever reason. That's so it, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Wait, I feel like you're lying to me because this project has a Kotlin import and you don't. Yeah, I do not see. You don't even have the Kotlin plugin. Okay, that's gotta be it, right? I don't know why you're not helping me out here, Android Studio. What? How do you not have that plugin? Stop, you're just lying. You're lying to me, Android Studio. Okay, so let's see, we've got... Yeah, there's... Look, Kotlin. No Kotlin. Kotlin. Okay, so in the top level build.gradle file, copying over the things that have to do with Kotlin, because they apparently aren't here. So do that, and this comes after the word build script. Actually, let's just make this wider. Oh, build script, get that. Actually, that didn't need to be wider. And you're going to tell me the right version is 1.1.2-3. So if you had 1.1.2-3, you are the winner. Then down here, module, we apply the Kotlin plugin. Then this all looks the same. This looks the same. App compat version. This one's a little newer. That shouldn't matter. So I doubt it's actually any of the Anko stuff that's causing this. So then we need to get this guy in. So let's get you in there. Anko, Kotlin X. We don't need coroutines yet, but it's good to know I've got it in there. Okay, let's sync this project again. You better build. Come on. Can't believe you did this to me 2 live streams in a row. So I guess the moral of the story there is that when you click that configure Kotlin for Gradle thing, if you don't see Kotlin stuff in here, I doubt it built or put it in there. And that's extra frustrating because you can use Kotlin and your code, it works just fine, it all builds, and then apparently it just doesn't work with an error that doesn't make any sense. I could show that off. But you gotta work now. You gotta install, you gotta run. Come on. Yes, there it is. Okay. That is super frustrating. So the problem was that Kotlin was not configured. Even though I swear we hit that button and it's recorded, so I can go back and check you, Android Studio. Okay, so back to where we were. We didn't need to make this new project, though I guess it helped me figure it out along the way. And we can leave up this feelings project because it's got some good imports in it that I might steal later. And okay, so there we go. We've got hello. And I was going to say we had more log statements, but we commented them out, didn't we? Yeah. Okay, so bring that back. You were all fine. All of you code. It wasn't your fault. I apologize. And Oh gosh. We are missing the internet permission, which frankly, in my opinion, I really, really would like them to just give the internet permission, like just put it in every manifest by default. And you know why? Because the internet permission is granted by default if your app asks for it. You can't even say anything about a user for it. You grant the internet permission. You don't have a choice. So frustrating that I always have to go through this song and dance. And I guess adding it by default isn't really the solution I want to this. I'd just like them to have like, hey, you're using OK HTTP or doing anything with the internet. Do you want to put this in your manifest? Like, yes, please. So again, just to recap that, this permission is always granted. The user can do nothing about that. It always happens. Which is not, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, just a fun fact. So now you know. Okay, we've got the internet permission. Let's run this again. And tried to drag my emulator down from YouTube. That doesn't work. We need this one. We need the real one. Okay, so there's GDAX. Says hello. And in here, we should have